Second video in 2 days, man. I'm back. I'm officially back. I'm back, and it feels good to be back. This video I want to talk about the evolution of a boxer and the letter grades that we give to these boxers. A lot of times you'll hear people give a boxer a letter grade. How do you establish that grade? At what point do you think a boxer reaches his peak to say, okay, at best he's going to be a B level fighter or whatever grade you decide to give him? But first, I want to talk a little bit about the evolution of a boxer. When you first start, you go into a gym, whether you're trained by a family member, a relative, your mother or your father, because, women can train men too. I've actually seen a couple women in fighters' corners, in the amateurs and professionally. But, obviously at the elite level, you don't see that, besides, I think, James Kirkland, which makes sense with Ann Wolfe. And I'm not saying James Kirkland is an elite fighter either. I was just saying at the top level when you're on television and shit, HBO, Showtime, shit like that. So anyway, you first start out boxing. There's a couple things you can't give a fighter. And just to name some, instinct. You're born with that. And heart. I think you can help a person find heart, but I think at an early age it can be done. For instance, a kid's getting bullied. He does self-defense classes, not necessarily, boxing, martial arts, whatever it is he does it. He learns, and he becomes more confident now, and he can defend himself. He's gained heart, or he's found his heart. His heart was always there, right? He's just found it. I think that can be established at an early age in life, early age in life. I don't think you should go, maybe past middle school to do this. It's got to be established at a very young age, because once you start getting to the teen years, you're pushing more towards adulthood now. But you can't give a fighter heart. If anything, you can make them gain it, I guess, become more confident. But heart's kind of got to be there, and instinct, again, we're born with. So going to the foundations, your trainer is going to play a big role because he's supposed to teach you the fundamentals. Now, one trainer's fundamentals can differ from another trainer's fundamentals. Overall point I'm trying to get to is, after you learn these fundamentals as a fighter, experience is a key factor, because through experience and before you even fight, through sparring, because that's going to be your first fight, sparring at the gym. Before you even fight a live fight, you're going to go live sparring. And when you're sparring, you're going to pick up little habits on your own. Again, instinct's going to kick in. For example, somebody randomly just throws something in your face or tries to smack you or something, you automatically put your hand up to block it. Whether you put your hand up the right way or what, there's a reaction out of you. You know what I'm saying? Much like when you're cold, you shiver, or you're too hot, you sweat. I shouldn't even say when you're too hot, you sweat, because that's more the body reacting. But when you're cold, you shiver. Nobody teaches you to do that, or you put your arms around your body and you try to keep yourself warm. That's human instinct. You know what I mean? Instinct takes over in the ring. It takes over in the ring. Do you think anybody taught Sergio Martinez to fight with his hands down? It's possible, maybe. But do you think his trainer literally told him to fight with his hands down? I don't believe so. I think that's a style he developed on his own, and he was comfortable doing it. His trainer might have even warned him about it. I don't know if he started out with the guy he's with. I forget the guy's name. But I don't know if he started with him his whole career, and that's just a one trainer whole career thing since amateurs. But I think that's a style he picked up. No trainer, with common sense. I don't care what style you teach. Even if you teach brawlers, if you're a trainer that's meant for strictly brawlers, you don't teach a fighter to put his hands down the whole time and fight like that. That's something that he picked up, and he was successful with it. And one thing a good, decent trainer will do is that if you notice your fighter is having a lot of success with the skill set he has and the style he's using, you don't change too much of it. If anything, you try to enhance it, and you still teach him the strong fundamentals to do. But if he's having success with it, there's only so much you can do. He fights with his hands down, but he keeps winning. And not only is he winning, he's blowing guys out. He's knocking them out. He can fight with his hands down. Roy Jones could do it. Do you think his father taught him that? I don't think so, but I think he was so naturally athletically gifted that with the fundamentals he taught him, probably, he realized, shit, I don't even got to do these fundamentals. I can break the elements. I can be unorthodox, and I can still school people in the ring because I'm that good. but through experience. You know, he started doing that. You know, Roy Jones been fighting since he was a kid. He was doing that. He picked that up, and he's been doing it since he was little. You know, experience. If you look at a fighter like Manny Pacquiao at one time that used to bounce from angle to angle to angle, you think somebody taught him that? I don't think anybody taught him that. I think that that's something he formulated on his own. Look, listen, I don't want to spend too much time on this side, but the point is, fighters are taught fundamentals through experience in fighting and instinct. You pick up your own habits, and you incorporate that within your style. Okay, you form your style that you have. You know, you form the style that you have. Whether it's the right style, it's the wrong style, it's your style, and it might be effective for you. So, with that being said, how do we grade fighters? How do you grade fighters? Because somebody like Miguel Cotto, take for example, I've heard Miguel Cotto is a B plus, you know, and people do like to put the minus and plus sometimes, but let's forget about the minus and pluses for right now. I heard Miguel Cotto is a B fighter at best. He's a very good B fighter. That's what I've heard from people, and that's being respectful. He's a very good B fighter, B level fighter. How can you call Miguel Cotto a B level fighter? One person may make a debate, a valid argument when Miguel Cotto's beating everybody he's faced besides three people. Floyd Mayweather, who is the best. Manny Pacquiao, who is another one that is one of the best. Especially at the time he fought him. And Austin Trout. Now, is Austin Trout an A-level fighter to lose to? You know, Austin Trout seems right now like a B level. You know, I don't know if you call him A-level or you call him elite. But then again, there it goes with the grading again. I'm grading another fighter. Do you base the grade of one fighter off of another fighter that he won or lost to? How do we come up with these grades? I don't really know particularly and hold the answer to this subject that I'm presenting to you. And I'm not trying to get an answer, and I'm not trying to give an answer. All I'm trying to get is people thinking. That's all I'm trying to do. It's just another video for everybody to think about and give their opinions on. How do you get, if you grade fighters, how do you get this grade that you get for the fighters? Obviously, you know, Mayweather is an A-level fighter. You know? But what if he lost? Would that make him drop a grade? It shouldn't. I mean, it would just be one loss. Some people may argue that Maidana had a draw with him in the first fight. Is Maidana a B-level fighter? I heard some people call Maidana a C-level fighter. I've heard some people call him a B-level fighter. Shouldn't Maidana be considered an A-level fighter? Even though he's one-dimensional brawler, he's a beast within that dimension. And look how far it got him. It got him 2 fights with Floyd Mayweather. The best A-level fighter in the game currently, some may say. So, how can Maidana be called a B-level fighter? So what if he loses to Floyd twice? So what if he had a close loss with Amir Khan? Shouldn't he still be an A-level fighter because everybody they put in front of him, he's beaten? With the exception of a few? And he's made it all the way this far? What? No, but he's still a B-level fighter, right? See, that's what's interesting. How do you get the letter grades on these fighters? How? Oscar De La Hoya was considered, I'm assuming, an A-level fighter, right? Was Mike Tyson an A-level fighter? Take a look at Iron Mike's career. You know? And here's another thing to think about. Fighters' attributes are sometimes graded. Like you'll hear guys say, he's got A-level power. But he's not an A-level fighter. And when I hear that, how I take it as is, let's go back to Tyson. Tyson had A-level power. He had an elite power, meaning he can knock out anybody. You put the best in front of him, his power has the intensity to knock you out unconscious. Mike Tyson had knockout power at the highest level. But it doesn't mean he was an A-level fighter because his power converted to A level, but his skills necessarily didn't. That's how I look at that. And I'm not saying Mike Tyson wasn't an A-level fighter. I'm just thinking. He lost to Buster Douglas. He lost to Lennox Lewis. He lost to Evander Holyfield twice. Anytime he stepped up to a very good fighter, he lost. And he should have never lost to Buster Douglas, by the way. We all know the story with the long count and so on and so forth. But even besides that, maybe you could say Mike Tyson was an A-level fighter when Costamato was alive. Or was on the verge of being a A-level fighter, but perhaps he lost discipline along the way. When he started to make decisions in life that weren't so good as far as his career went, weren't healthy for his career. I don't know. I'll let people think, and everybody has their opinions, and you decide and determine. But I remember a video I made way back. I do think Mike Tyson was overrated to a certain extent. I mean, take, for example, the two guys that are coming up this Saturday. Deontay Wilder may have A-level, if you want to, again, grade the attributes, he might have A-level power. He might have A-level power, meaning he can knock out anybody. You go back in the history of the heavyweight division, Deontay Wilder has the power to knock out anybody unconscious. His power is real. We'll find out as his career progresses, and Saturday will tell us a lot. Because Sterving is a legit challenge, and he's a champion, How much of a legit champion he is, we don't know, because we know that's a vacated belt. But he definitely is a legit fighter, He's a solid fighter from what I've seen so far. The problem is his physical attributes. He's short, But he does have skill, but he is flawed as well. Nevertheless, I don't want to talk about Sterving and Wilder. That's not what this video is about. Just taking Wilder's power and saying he's A-level. But Wilder, in my opinion, has very, very, very low skill. I mean, honestly, I damn near see no skill in the guy. I just see his power. Because I can point out flaws for days in Wilder. I can point it out in Sterving too. But Wilder, I can point it out for days. I just do not like what they taught that man as far as fundamentals at all. And he was a latecomer into the game of boxing, but I don't like what they taught him at all. I don't like it at all. Only thing I see in him is power. But let's say he has that A-level power. Does that make him an A-level fighter? Because look at his skill set. What if that power gets him far? Another thing is, do you grade the era? Some may say, is Vladimir Klitschko an A-level fighter? A lot of people say, oh, well, the heavyweight division's dead. There's nobody for him to fight. He's fighting a bunch of bums. During Ali, Frazier Day, blah, blah, blah. You know how the story goes. I understand that. I respect that point of view. One thing I will say is I don't think fighters should be judged according to what era they're fighting in because we don't have control over when we're born. Vladimir's fighting now with what exists in his division. He's wiping it out. Him and his brother were doing so. So those guys, in my eyes, are all-time greats. Vladimir Klitschko and Vitaly Klitschko are all-time greats in my eyes. And they are A-level fighters, if we want to throw grades on them, in my opinion. But some will grade it by the era. They'll say, well, the era's weak. If you put them in another era, they wouldn't be shit. They wouldn't even be, they'd probably be barely B- fighters. And that's just due to their size. They would probably barely be B- fighters, but once they stepped up to elite, they would get knocked out. Or, somebody would say something along those lines. I'm sure somebody out there somewhere that's a, boxing fan, a critic, part of the media, a reporter, somebody, How do we come up with these grades for these fighters? Because it is true. Somebody can have an attribute that's strong. Sergio Martinez, for example, was he an A-level fighter? People say, oh, the middleweight division was weak when he was owning it. Look what Miguel Cotto did to him. But then again, is Miguel Cotto an A-level fighter or is he a B-level fighter? If Miguel Cotto's a B-level fighter and he disgraced Martinez like that, does that make Martinez a C-level fighter? Do you take one grade of a man that he lost to and base it off another? You get what I'm saying. How do we come up with these grades for these fighters? This video's reaching 15 minutes. Slyways 100, I'm out.